my own eyes have been opened and how I have learned to care more about a group of people we're supposed to despise, people we're supposed to hate, people we're supposed to fear, people we are taught are unworthy, fundamentally unworthy of our care, compassion, and concern. I'm here to talk about criminals, and I'm here to talk about our criminal justice system, a system of mass incarceration, a penal system unprecedented in world history. Millions of people are locked up in the United States today. Overwhelmingly poor people and people of color, locked in literal cages, often treated worse than animals, and then upon their release, they're stripped of the basic civil and human rights supposedly won in the civil rights movement.
Joseph K. Holliday is serving a life sentence for a crime of which there is no physical evidence, no weapon, no credible witnesses, no motive, no prior convictions, a hung jury, and over 20 years served since the age of 19. Currently, Mr. Holliday is still awaiting freedom. Mr. Holliday needs as much public support as possible to achieve his freedom. Recently, Mr. Holliday's story has awakened the interest of several individuals as a result of being seen on several YouTube videos. With the encouragement of his aunt and advocate, Catherine Hawthorne, who is now suffering from stage 4 cancer.
As an offender, over 2 decades I've been incarcerated.
The facts most important about this horrible act of injustice is that there were 2 witnesses actually sitting in the vehicle with the victim when he was shot. The victim was in the driver's seat, and his front seat passenger testified that he never saw Joseph K. Holliday in his life until that day in court. The records reflect the backseat passenger told the chief investigator that the shooter was tall, slim, dark-skinned, with an afro. The exact description of the incredible co-defendant witness that testified that he fled the scene of the crime. Surely, the 2 people that were passengers of the driver that was shot, one directly beside the victim and the other directly behind the victim, would have been the most reliable testimony than anyone else on earth.
I was reading an article the other day that stated that there are more black men in prison today than there were slaves in 1850.
The local Mississippi newspaper described the 2 witnesses used to convict this young man as dubious witnesses, doubtful people with no credibility or real character. One of these witnesses was actually the first suspect for the crime. The second witness testified that she had been a lifelong mental patient under guardianship. She also testified that she had been committed to the state mental hospital. This witness further testified that not only had she been committed to the state mental hospital, but she had been committed several times. Under the influence of crack cocaine and Valiums during the time of the incident, this witness was still used as a credible witness to convict Joseph K. Holliday. Surely, Joseph should not have been convicted on the testimony of these individuals. After 3 trials, one ending in a hung jury, Joseph was ultimately found guilty and sentenced to life in the Mississippi State Penitentiary. Since his incarceration, in spite of such a condemning sentence, Joseph voluntarily joined and graduated the most positive evidence-based programs within the Department of Corrections, entitled the MRT, Moral Recognition Therapy.
MRT gave me a foundation to build upon. It gave me the opportunity to be a part of something much greater than myself. All of these different groups of people, black, white, Mexican, we all come together in this group and it gives us a sense of brotherhood. We become family. We cry together, we laugh together, and most importantly, we grow together.
Which includes restorable justice, entrepreneurial leadership, anger management, offenders social development, financial literacy, Dads 101, and experiencing God. After graduating these classes with exemplary conduct, Joseph was selected as a program's mentor by the program's warden. As of this date, Joseph has recruited and mentored over 1,000 offenders in these life-changing programs. Truly, this kind of character reflects that this man deserves a second chance at life. His daughter was only 1 year old when he was incarcerated. She is now 23 with her own daughter. Joseph's son was conceived since his incarceration, now a teenager whom he has only seen once in his entire life. At least 4 generations are suffering from this miscarriage of injustice. Community taxpayers have also been adversely affected due to the staggering cost of over $500,000 spent on Joseph K. Holliday to incarcerate him for over 2 decades. As of May 4th, 2015, the sentencing judge that sentenced Joseph to life on July 22nd, 1997, has granted a petition filed by Joseph for declaratory judgment for parole recommendation. In the judge's favorable ruling, the judge stated, "Joseph has done a sufficient amount of time. I strongly recommend parole." Joseph K. Holliday, a model prisoner and advocate for the community, made his own personal statement. "I pray for society's empathy, not sympathy, because for over 2 decades, the family of victim Tommy Hawkins, the community, as well as my own family, has been the most affected in this ordeal. My compassion runs deep for the Hawkins family. I wanted all of them, as well as the entire society, to know that I am not simply doing time or riding away. To the contrary, I have made the choice to let my situation serve as a testimony to the young people going down the wrong path, as well as those adults that are living with no purpose, no direction. To expose my life, buried alive, is the best way to describe it. It allows me to give back to society, using my own struggles of incarceration daily, giving my own blood, sweat, tears, mentoring many sons, many husbands, many fathers that are returning to a Walmart near you. Please hear me. In memory of Mr. Tommy Hawkins and all the victims, which include the families of violent crimes throughout the United States, I have launched a life-changing program. It's called Cons Against Guns, not only focusing on those that committed the violent crimes, but more so focused on an atonement towards victims, families, and community. One example of this program is the Letters to the Youth, where offenders write anonymous letters to at-risk and challenged youth, expressing the importance of education, respecting parents, the dark side of joining gangs, and many more facts of life. Of course, it seems unrealistic for a prisoner to reach out to innocent kids. However, many of society's kids are quickly filling up prisons and graveyards like never before. Therefore, If one is saved by this program, then surely it is very, very necessary. Even God says he doesn't call the qualified, but he calls and qualifies the called. I, Joseph K. Holliday, promise and pray that if I am freed, I will make a difference. I will make a change.